Plea bargaining in law is the practice of negotiating an agreement between the prosecution and the defense, whereby the defendant pleads guilty to a lesser offense or, in the case of multiple offenses, to one or more of the offenses charged in exchange for more lenient sentences, recommendations, a specific sentence, or a dismissal of other charges. A plea bargain allows both parties to avoid a lengthy criminal trial and may allow criminal defendants to avoid the risk of conviction at trial on a more serious charge. Supporters of plea bargaining claim that it speeds court proceedings and guarantees a conviction, whereas opponents believe that it prevents justice from being served. Well, today, to help our audience understand better what plea bargain is and how it works, the Eagle will focus on the place of plea bargain in the fight against economic and financial crimes. I am your host, Aisha Muhammad, welcoming you to another episode of the Eagle.
Fellow Naja, I throw a salute. My name is Abdurrashid Bawa. Na me be Oga for this our commission, where would they call Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. I want to invite Una, make Una follow me, make us kill this monster that is bedeviling our country, corruption, economic and financial crimes. As we say, when everything dey all right, our country go dey, light go dey, our future go dey bright, and last we go dey all right for this country. Together, we go make Nigeria better.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC has called on the public affairs officers of the Commission to embrace and adequately utilize digital media tools in the fight against economic and financial crimes. The charge was made by the Director of Public Affairs EFCC, Osita Nwada, at the EFCC Academy Kara Abuja during a 2-day training on advanced digital media application for officers of the Commission. Here are details of the engagement.
Speaking to the trainees, Unwaja enumerated what the officers stand to gain by the end of the training. He concluded that the officers will be better on the jobs as they would have gained new and better perspectives to interrogate the challenging issues of the same professional circumstances that they face, as well as gain new ways of dealing with old problems.
The work is challenging, but it's the same challenge that we had yesterday that we are having today and we're likely to have tomorrow. So if we know that and we have the skill set to engage these issues, then it will be better for us as individuals and the Commission as a whole and the nation. Just whatever it is, just make sure you don't leave here the same way you came in. You should leave here a much improved person, because we're going to be demanding much improved performance from you as you head back to the jobs that you have always done. Expect that you'll do it better now.
Unwaja further explained that the choice of the training is strategic in view of the direction the world is heading towards a dissemination of information and publicity with digital media. While declaring the course open, the Commandant, EFCC Academy, Ayo Olowonihi, urged the participants to be ambassadors of the lessons learned by sharing the knowledge acquired at the end of the training with other colleagues in the Commission. Olowonihi, who spoke through the Deputy Commandant, Training EFCC Academy, Baba Shani Sanda, urged the participants to constantly practice the skills to be acquired at the end of the course. He stressed that anything that is practical requires attention, dedication, and practice to ensure that what is taught remains in memory.
This is a hands-on training. That means it's going to be practical. Okay. Now, anything that is practical requires attention, dedication, and practice. Okay. So, after these 2 days, ensure you go back and practice so that it will stick. You are ambassadors of those outside there, so we expect you to also take the gospel out there and teach those that are not opportune to be here.
The Ilorin Zonal Commander of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, Assistant Commander of the EFCC, Michael Nzekwe, has expressed the willingness of the EFCC to collaborate with the Nigerian Army in the task of fighting corruption and terrorism financing in Nigeria. Nzekwe stated this when the EFCC Zonal Commander visited the 22 Armored Brigade Nigerian Army Sobi Barracks in Ilorin. Amina Kawa tells us more.
According to Nzekwe, the visit became imperative since the army is a critical stakeholder in the fight against corruption and terrorism financing, which is part of the core mandate of the EFCC. He stressed that it is necessary and important for the Nigerian army to join hands with the EFCC to identify and cut off the source of financing for terrorists. Nzekwe called for enhanced synergy between the two agencies, as one of the strategic objectives of the Commission is to engage all stakeholders and work in synergy with all law enforcement agencies. The commander further stated that the mandate of the EFCC and that of the Army was intertwined and complementary, and expressed optimism that if the two agencies collaborate very well in discharge of their duties, Nigeria will be the greatest beneficiary. Responding, the Brigadier Commander, Brigadier General Adebayo Babalola, who was delighted with the visit, described his guests as August visitors. He said that the success of the EFCC as an agency of government is the success of the military.
In furtherance of its stakeholders' engagement in the fight against economic and financial crimes, the Kaduna Zonal Command of the EFCC carried out an enlightenment and sensitization interaction with senior military officers, academic staff, and officer cadet of 73 and 74 regular courses of the Nigerian Defense Academy NDA. Here are details of this engagement.
The event, which took place at Afaka, Kaduna, had paper presentations by senior officers of the EFCC and afforded officers of the EFCC and NDA to engage in exchange of ideas on how best to move the anti-corruption crusade forward. The presentations delivered by ACE Mustafa Yusuf Abubakar, CSE Nana Fatima Abubakar, and CSE Nuruddin Bello engaged the participants on the formation and activities of the Commission. ACE Mustafa Yusuf Abubakar, the head Bankfrat section of the command, stressed to the officers on ways to keep classified information away from third parties. He also cautioned against negligence about information on finances, pointing out that such an attitude is helping corrupt practices to thrive. CSE Nana Fatima Abubakar brought to the knowledge of the officers ways to relate with the EFCC either through personal interactions and on social media platforms. She also advised them to take advantage of the Commission's Eagle Eye app, which is a digital crime reporting application developed by the EFCC, and the EFCC's virtual weekly town hall meeting, EFCC Connect, on the Commission's Twitter space. The head cybercrime section in the command, CSE Nuruddin Bello, took the participants through various modus operandi of cybercrime fraudsters. He also identified some red flags as well as peculiar ways fraudsters operate. The participants were charged to stand up and play deliberate roles in the fight against corruption for the overall growth of the country. Amina Kawa, reporting for the Eagle.
Well, it's now time for Conviction Update with Abbas Abubakar Umar. Over to you, Abbas.
The current American President, Joe Biden, sees corruption as a cancer that eats away citizens' faith in democracy and which diminishes the instinct for innovation and creativity. Agreed, that's what corruption does to a nation. That is why, as an agency saddled with the responsibility of fighting corruption, the EFCC has continued to secure convictions of fraudsters involved in different acts of economic and financial crimes. From August 29 to September 2, 2022, the Commission secured a total of 61 convictions. Within this period, the Ilorin Zonal Command secured 17 convictions, while the Lagos Command got 15 convictions. The Ibadan Command secured 9 and the Kaduna Command have 6 convictions. The headquarters of the EFCC and the Abuja Command have 4 convictions each, while Makodi Command have 2. The Kano, Gombe, Benin and Sokoto commands have 1 convictions each. As stated earlier, the EFCC within the week under review secured 61 convictions. Let us all join hands with the EFCC and fight this cancerous monster together for our country and the generation ahead of us. Back to you, Aisha.
Plea bargaining has been defended as a voluntary exchange that leaves both parties better off. In that, defendants have many procedural and substantive rights, including a right to trial and to appeal a guilty verdict. By pleading guilty, defendants waive those rights in exchange for a commitment from the prosecutor, such as a reduced charge or more favorable sentences. Well, let's allow the experts to educate us on the place of plea bargain in the fight against economic and financial crimes, as Golden Onwura and our guests are standing by to take us through.
Hello and welcome to the interview segment. I am Golden Onwura. Apart from ensuring that perpetrators of economic and financial crimes receive adequate punishment in line with the law, the EFCC also ensures massive recovery of proceeds of unlawful activities to the victims or the federal government, as the case may be. This gave rise to the term plea bargain. Today we will be discussing the place of plea bargain in the fight against economic and financial crimes. I have here with me the head, CMU Legal, Lagos Command, Assistant Commander of the EFCC, ACE Rotimi Oyedepo. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Oftentimes we talk about plea bargain in courts and on the news. We listen to it on the news. What exactly is plea bargain?
From my perspective and the perspective of the law, if you look at the Section 494 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, it has defined plea bargain to mean the coming together of the prosecution and the defendant or the defense team to agree mutually on how to quickly and expeditiously dispose a criminal matter. So, but let me come down to the level of those who are not lawyers and then let the market woman understand what we are saying. It is a process where both defendant or the man that is accused, the government lawyer that is prosecuting the matter, or the agency agrees to put an end to a criminal or a pending criminal matter in court after considering, one, the public interest, the interest of justice, the interest of the victim of the offense. It may be an individual, it may be a corporate organization, it may even be the state at large. So after considering the various variables, the both team or both parties agrees and say, okay, let's put an end to this fight. So it's not something that is strange, it's not something that is bad, it is good and it's good for all.
Can you give us instances of this plea bargain you're talking about?
We've had numerous instances. As of today, you will see from the record of the commission that we've secured largely over 2,000 number of convictions this year alone, and larger percent of those judgments were as a result of the defense looking at the overwhelming evidence the EFCC had presented in the pro-evidence, approaching the commission saying our clients had intended to or resolved to change his plea, to return what has been stolen or fraudulently converted, and in essence is asking for a lesser punishment or a lesser charge, and both parties come together and same is resolved. And that's why we're having this tremendous groundbreaking record rate of conviction that you are seeing now. So it's not something that is alien or an aberration to our laws. We're able to record this rate of conviction, because the EFCC, after a very thorough investigation, once a case or a charge is preferred against a defendant, you want to prove your case beyond reasonable doubt. But the recent development, you will see the defense team coming to us saying, my client had resolved to change his plea and is going to, in return, return that which he had fraudulently converted or appropriated to himself. So in situations like that, the prosecution cannot shut its door against the defense. And what more do we want? Once an accused person or a suspect who, for instance, had stolen 100 million from either from the state treasury or from an innocent citizen, and he's saying, okay, out of this fund that I've stolen, I'm ready to return it and I'm ready to change my plea. A man that is already remorseful need not go for the rigor of trial. So if that is tabled before the commission, we will definitely look at it, and then considering the public interest, sensitivity of the issues, and the collective public policy, that will be taken into consideration, and then the matter will be resolved.
There is this perception that plea bargain is a deliberate compromise of justice. To what extent do you agree to this?
Well, let me just put it very bluntly. I do not belong to that school of thought. But it's not strange. Just like in any human endeavors where there is a general resolution to move away from the status quo, there's definitely you will always notice this resistance to the status quo. And the concept of plea bargain is not also immune against this kind of wrong perception and impression of people. I do not see a plea bargain as a conduit pipe through which the prosecution or the prosecuting team will share from the proceeds of unlawful activity or compromise the interest of justice. It is merely breathing life into our collective resolution to ensure that matters are expeditiously determined. So, and why must a defendant who has demonstrated enough remorse and is willing to return that which has been stolen, why must he continue to go through rigor of trial? So it is efficient, it is prudent, it's been proven to be one of the quickest ways of resolving difficult and highly syndicated cases expeditiously before our court. And the rate of conviction that the EFCC has secured is a testimony to this. And I challenge anybody to come and say, oh, this was as a result of any compromise. You won't notice that. You will never see such evidence against the commission. So it is a plus. It is a good innovation. And I think the National Assembly should be commended for this innovation, bringing this concept within the realm of our laws.
So, ACE Rotimi, how constitutional is this concept of plea bargain in our criminal jurisprudence?
All that I've been saying is that now, pre-2015, there was no a national or act of the National Assembly codifying this in our law. But one of the commendable innovations that the National Assembly brought into the administration of criminal justice system in Nigeria by the provisions of the Act is that section 270 that had, defined the plea bargain processes, the condition to observe and to comply with, what stage of the proceedings it can be entered into, and what are the considerations that the prosecution or the prosecuting agency must take into account before accepting or declining. So I believe that making such provision in the Act had breathed life into our administration of criminal justice system, and there is no law that had been enacted that deleted or amended these provisions. Furthermore, our judges or the court had not had any occasion to strike out these provisions. So as it stands right now, both the trial court, the intermediate court, being the court of appeal, the apex court of the land, had occasions to make pronouncement on the concept of plea bargain and plea bargain agreement in Nigeria. In fact, the case of Lucky Binedo was one of those cases, and my Lord Ogunwumi Jesse, now as then was now Honorable Justice of the Supreme Court, had given us enough benefit that the plea bargain agreement or processes offers to both parties.
Right. Are there cases that you can do plea bargain on, and are there some that you cannot do plea bargain on?
The Administration of Criminal Justice Act did not limit the cases that the prosecution can accept or reject plea bargain. Or there's no dispute that cannot be resolved. So as a matter of fact, if the court can resolve it, so what stops the parties from approaching each other and then bring their resolution to the court for the approval of the court? So what we are saying is that there is nothing that is wrong. There is nothing that is that should make anybody feel agitated or canvass argument against the plea bargain processes as we have it today.
As we come to the end of the segment, what's your last word on this? I mean, your advice to the general public.
My last word is that for generally, and I believe that the commission in doing ours will always consider the public interest, the interest of justice, and also the interest, not only the interest of the judge of justice, but the public policy. Before you say you want to do plea bargain with the defense, you need to look at the possibility of recovering virtually everything that the defendant had diverted to himself. So, and in doing this, we are being governed by our core values: the professionalism, the courage, the integrity, and it's there. So we act in line with the law. But I would just play with the entire prosecuting agencies in the country that in accepting or in offering plea bargain to defendant, what should be paramount in our heart is the interest of justice, the interest of the victim of the offense, and also the public policy.
Thank you, ACE Rotimi Oyedepo Ishioluwa, for coming on the program. That's it from the interview segment. Now you know that plea bargain is never a ploy to compromise or avert justice. Rather, it helps to speed up the prosecution process in order to ensure justice. I am Golden Ongora. Back to you, Aisha.
The importance of prevention in the fight against economic and financial crimes cannot be overemphasized. Hence the idea by the EFCC to engage with its audience on its Twitter space at official EFCC on EFCC Connect every Wednesday at 6 p.m. EFCC Connect is a weekly town hall meeting that serves a veritable platform to educate and sensitize the EFCC stakeholders on its workings and how the public can own the fight against economic and financial crimes. Well, this week on EFCC Connect, we shall be discussing cybersecurity, staying safe online. I guess we all need to be part of this, as tips and modalities of staying safe online will be shared. Join the conversation for this and more. And that's it on this week's episode of The Eagle. Here is a reminder that you can send an email to info@efcc.gov.ng and speak to our officers on 0809 3322644 and follow us on all our social media platforms at official EFCC. Use the EFCC mobile app, The Eagle Eye, to report any fraud you see happening around you. You download the app, follow the steps, and report fraud on the go. And you can also take pictures of corrupt practices and upload them. I am Aisha Muhammad, leaving you with these words that says, Supporting the truth, even when it is unpopular, shows the capacity for honesty and integrity. Stand for the right thing, stand for integrity always. Let the change begin with you and I. Goodbye. God bless Nigeria. Please do stay safe, be kind to yourself and to others, and enjoy the rest of the week.